Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and today I am doing my update number 3. Don't quote me on that. I always get them wrong anyway, but I think I'm at update number 3 for my year-long project pan. So I am doing this in the rolling 10 pan style, which means that I have 10 items rolled in. My goal is to use these products up to completion before I can roll them out and roll something in their place. Now, I do not have any rollouts because this is my major project pan for the year. So all of these items are kind of long haul items, but we do have some really good uses. I think I did my makeup 19 or 20 times in, what month are we out of? In March. So I did my makeup 19, 20 times in March. And so we will see where my products are at. But I have my products, my graphics, my numbers, my spreadsheets, all the geeky stuff that you guys love and I love also. So let me go ahead and get everything pulled out and we will get into my update number 3 for my year-long project pan. So I never really go into what a project pan is because a lot of times I feel like if you're clicking on my video, you know what it is. But hey, that might be me assuming, and we know what assuming does. So the reason that I project pan and what it is that I want to use up the products that are coming in my collection. A couple years ago, I fell into the trap that a lot of us did in 2016 and 2017, where we were just over consuming within the beauty and makeup space. That is just the atmosphere that was around that time. So I ended up with a very large collection and I had to pump the brakes financially and I had to pump the brakes space-wise to be able to say, whoa, I really don't need 15 foundations and 17 bronzers because it takes forever to go through these products. So I started tracking back in 2020. I started tracking how long it took me to use up products. And so this project kind of morphed out of that. And so I track my uses, I track my weights, I track by putting like marks on my little panning journal right up there. So I got really diligent about knowing how long it takes to use up my products. So I'm not repurchasing or bringing something new in until I'm at the point where I'm about to use up the product that is the replacement. So that's my little spiel real quick about why I am project panning and what this project kind of means to me. But let's go ahead and actually let me spread out my items because I don't want to be click-clacking around inside my little container here. But let me lay everything out and we will go through my usage, my weight changes, all of that jazz, and you guys will see my graphics popping up over there. All right, and then over here, I don't want to cover these up. I have some tulips, some purple tulips that my husband got me the other day. And I told you guys back during Valentine's Day when I had him buy me tulips as well that I don't own a vase. So what I am actually using as a vase today is a cookie jar that is in the shape of like one of the egg pods from Alien that like the baby like face huggers come out of. So my husband is a huge nerd and a huge like sci-fi nerd, and so we have lots of little like collectibles and trinkets and like things around the house. So that is his Alien cookie jar that I commandeered to be a vase for my flowers, but he got a kick out of it, so that is all that matters. But let's go ahead and we're gonna roll into my first product here, and this is my blush. So I focused on this blush all of last year, and then I was really hoping to use it up last year, but I did not make it there. But we are making some good progress on it now. But this is the Ofra Chicklet blush, and I have repressed it, and I keep it in this Makeup Geek compact, and so this is where we're at. I repressed it, I think, at the beginning of the year, but what I'm seeing on this is that we're getting very thin. I'm starting to be able to see like speckles of the pan around the edges, so I feel like I'm in a good zone. But also, the video that I'm going to be filming after this is my first quarter update to my 25 and 2025, which I wanted to get as much use as possible off of my, let me decline this telemarketer call real quick. I was trying to get as many uses as I could out of my Hourglass Mood Exposure, and I wanted to use that blush up. But I will say, sitting at March 31st, this is the first time that I've worn Mood Exposure this year, because I've been trying to pan this one, and there are some blushes that roll into my other projects. So definitely will not be panning Mood Exposure this year, but I still want to focus on that one after this one is gone. But on Chiclet, last month I was at 36.35. Now I'm at 36.18. I did use this blush six times, and for 0.17 grams of use on this one. So a little bit less on the grams than last month, but I also used it 2 less times. So I do need to pick this one up again, but rolling into as it starts to get warmer, which I'm back in my sweater because it stormed yesterday and today, which means that cooler weather is kind of rolling in. So it's a little bit colder today, but I do feel like we are going to get a lot more humidity, a lot more heat, and I actually got a little bit of sun doing some work in the yard, and so I feel like kind of the sunburnt look that this blush gives me will be very, very nice. Which also, I know this because I'm filming this on the 31st, even though you guys won't see it until the 5th, but I do not have a video that is going up on the 1st of April, and it's not like an April Fool's thing. It is just because I have not had time, and also I didn't know what to film. I thought about filming deconstructing my palettes, but again, that would mean that I would need to sit down for like a whole day to do the actual deconstruction and then edit the entire thing, so I don't have time for that. Life is kind of stressful right now, and the little bit of time that I do have to myself, I'm writing and I am outside in my flower beds making things around me pretty. So that is my priority right now, and having one less video in April is a-okay with me. But let me go ahead and roll into my next one. Like, I don't even want to apologize for not having a video because this is what I need for my life. And I don't think that we should have to apologize for what we need to be okay. So that's where I'm leaving that. And I know that you guys are there with me. But we did have, the next item is my Tarte highlighting palette. That is my Franken highlighting palette. And this is what we're looking like on the inside. My main focus is shade number 2. Shade number 2 is also rolled into my Project 10 uses right now. And I kept saying even last time that I want to repress a bunch of stuff. I've not even had time for that. So I am trying to figure out, and it's not even time management. Like, there's too much stuff going on. So this is where we're at with my highlighting palette. Of course, I say this every video, and I don't want to be too, repetitious, but I know that new people find me. So with the way that I'm tracking, sometimes I'll reach into like 2 shades for one application. And so in my book, I put a tally mark next to both shades. So I can't tell you guys, oh, I wore this blah times this month. But I do put up on the screen somewhere the amount of times that I used each shade over the month and the amount of times that each shade has been used since the beginning of the year. So those will be popping up. But I think I did my makeup 19 or 20 times, so you guys can get an idea, because I'm reaching into this one every single time. But last month with our highlighting palette, I was at 116.67. Now I'm at 116.37, so that's 0.30, which is a little bit less than last month, but is kind of on par because I had 0.32, 0.34, and now we're at 0.30. So we're using about a third-ish of a gram per month of our highlighter. So good progress on that one. I do have, actually, I'm going to take a drink of coffee because it is 4:45 in the afternoon and I need this. So let me get a sip of coffee and then I'll roll into my next product. All right, we have my bronzer, and this pan has been there since November, but we are definitely expanding. And again, I did not have time to repress this, but this is one of the Juvia's Place bronzers that is in one of my Makeup Geek compacts. The pan out of the Juvia's Place bronzers fits perfectly in these. So this is where we're at. Look at that huge pan. I am definitely like swirling around the outside to pick up this product. It is in desperate need of me to repress it. So I will see if I have time this week to go ahead and repress some of these products. But with the bronzer, last month we were at 43 grams even. Now we're at 42.62. I did use it 19 times in March for 0.38 grams of bronzer gone. This one, if you guys have been here since last year, you guys will know. I used up the cool toned version of this bronzer in 6 months last year, and then I started using this one in July of last year, and we're at the end of March. So whatever is different about this formula, if it's harder pressed, I don't know, but this one is lasting so much longer than the cool toned one in the same duo from Juvia's Place. But that's how I'm doing with my bronzer. I do have my ColourPop Lippy Stick or Lippy Pencil in Brink. I always have my little black mark where it'll end up being empty. So if anybody is curious where the ColourPop lip liners end, it is in the L. Another telemarketer call. They are on it today. On it. So we're going to decline that. Good Lord. I get like 17 calls per day. And it's all like, oh, you owe back taxes, or get this loan, or your tolls are due. And I'm like, you guys are all scams. It's all scams. We need, can we get regulation on, auto calls? Give me laws on that. Make that illegal, please. Let me get back to the makeup, but I do have my Lippy Pencil in Brink. I use this every single time that I get ready, so we can assume that I use this 19 times in March. And last month on the pencil, we were at 6.04. Now we're at 5.9, so 0.14 grams of use on this, which is kind of on par with other months. I do need to sharpen this one. I could have cheated and sharpened this before I weighed it, but I was able to use it and not have to worry about sharpening it. So I am just going to sharpen it afterwards, and we'll see where we go from there. But that is how we're doing with Brink. This next one is kind of exciting. So this is my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and I do have it in Light 2.5 Creme Brulee. This color is slightly darker than my normal skin tone because when I'm using this concealer, I'm using it to cover blemishes or hyperpigmentation from healing blemishes, which I don't know what it is, but over the past month or two, my skin has been doing phenomenal. And I don't know what it is. My hormonal acne is less. My food sensitivity acne is less. So I don't know what the difference is. I don't want to attribute it to skincare because I don't know, but my skin has been behaving, which is super fun. But I always do get this in a slightly darker shade because I want those blemishes to sink back and not be highlighted. But what's going to be really exciting about this one is that for you guys, that probably looks practically empty, but I have that little bit in that corner. Look at how cleaned out that is. I have that little bit in that corner over there, and that's all I have left of this one. So I would say that this is definitely going to be an empty within April just because of how I'm using it right now. But, and I'll tell you guys, actually, I'll tell you now how I'm using it. So I'm using this every single time I do my makeup. I'm using this to cover my redness because the foundation that I'm using right now is not as full coverage as I would like. I am kind of underpainting with this concealer and using this concealer to cover the redness on my cheeks, cover the redness around my nose, cover the redness on my chin, and then I have a couple little blemishes that are healing, and I'm doing that. So I hold a lot of redness in my face. So this does a beautiful job at just covering that and it making a more even toned, like, canvas for me to go in with my foundation. So I use this every single time I did my makeup, and I love it for that purpose because I feel like I can do a very thin layer of this and it does the job, and then I don't need so much foundation or like spot concealing because I've already laid down a good base of this product. So with our weights, we were at 27.93 last month. I used it 19 times. We're at 26.99, so I used 0.94, so almost an entire gram of this concealer is what I used, and that is a big jump from other months when I was just spot concealing with it. I was only using a half gram, so using it more on larger areas of my skin to kind of tone down that redness has really helped me. I already purchased a backup of this last year when it was 50% off during a 21 Days of Beauty, so this one needs to go. So I'm not overly using it to try to just like get it out, but I found a way that I really enjoy using it with a lighter coverage product over top. My next product is my lipstick that I'm trying to focus on for the year. When I held this up in my book, I was not able to make a new mark on it, but we did have a little bit of a weight change. I don't know how many times I used this, but this is the Pat McGrath lipstick in Fembot. I got this in a FabFitFun years ago, so I figured I'd go ahead and start using it. It's just this beautiful kind of dusty rose pink. I do love this formula. It's more of a silicone matte formula that just glides over the lips and it doesn't collect in your lip lines and things like that, but it can travel because it does kind of stay creamy but look matte. So it can travel, and it doesn't last on your lips that long because it doesn't actually set down, but it is very comfortable. So that's what I appreciate about this lipstick, but I do want to get this out of my collection because it is getting a little bit older. But last month we were at 34.4, and now we're at 34.36, so I used 0.04. I think I maybe put this on 2 or 3 times in the month, so I will definitely have to kind of kick my usage in gear on this one, but I kind of feel like I was hardcore about project panning a couple years ago, and I think that was because my collection was so big that I felt the pressure to get through things, but now I feel like I'm enjoying my products and taking my time with them, and it feels a lot better. So while I'm not like racing through a lot of these products, it's because I'm enjoying my collection. So I feel like that is a win for the mindset and the intention of my makeup usage and my channel and kind of what I preach to you guys with the conscious consumerism. But that still doesn't mean that I want lipstick sitting around in my collection for years and years and years. So we will continue to work on that one. The next product is something that I continue to love, and that is the Say Super Glowy Gel. And I just edited out how poorly I messed up saying the name of this one because it was so ridiculous that I'm not gonna subject you guys to that. So just know that it took me like 3 times to figure out how to say this and have my mouth actually make the right sounds. But I do have this in Star Glow. It is beautiful, gorgeous, this gel formula because I am an oily skin type. I'm 40 years old and I live in a very hot and humid climate here in Florida. So if I want something glowy, then I do need something more that is a gel formula more than something that is going to add too much oil or like greasiness to my face. So this is a very happy medium. Now this does have like a bag inside the component and the bag shrinks down. So I'm not able to make any sort of marks on how I'm doing, but what my measurements are, and I'm going to have to kind of explain this a little bit. So with my measurements, last month we were at 148.03. Now I'm at 146.45. I used this 19 times last month for 0.57. So I say used this because and I'm going to skip over a product and go to this one because it's relevant. So this is the Tarte foundation. I told you guys last time that I did not like the formula of the red compact Tarte foundation on its own, and I like to mix my foundations, so I was going to just pump extra product under the cushion and mix everything together. One of you guys popped in the comments that that is a very bad idea and that it actually can make the product in here go bad faster. So for anybody else out there, I will discourage you guys from doing this, but I am an adult and I do what I want. So, and there's only 0.15 ounces of foundation in here, so there's not a whole lot, and I'm going to end up going through this very quickly. So what I actually ended up doing was I took the cushion out of the component. I squirted in pumps of this and then pumps of my Misha BB cream. I mixed everything together. I put the cushion back in, and then I mushed everything around in the cushion. And that has created a formula of this that is beautiful. Beautiful. So with that being said, me using this product 19 times was actually me dipping into this 19 times and using whatever of the pumps that I put in there. I think I only put like 5 pumps of this into the Tarte foundation. So that is how I am currently using this product. Otherwise, I would be pumping some out on my foundation palette over there and then like hand mixing foundation on the palette. But since I'm using a cushion, I pumped this into the cushion, which again, I was told that's a bad idea. So I'll tell you guys that that's a bad idea. But if you're an adult, do what you want. So I'll touch on the Tarte. So this actually weighs more now than it weighed whenever I first rolled it in because I did add that extra product in there. So this is just the red compact Tarte. I have this in 17C porcelain, and I actually painted my nails, guys, so I'm trying not to ruin my nail opening this compact, but it has the little door. I know you guys say too that it's best to use the little puff that comes with this. I hate that. I absolutely hate that, so I'm not doing that. I'm using my regular DSMD shop sponges. I'm using that in here. So this is what we're looking like. It's just a cushion foundation. I have a feeling I'm going to need to kind of like re-squish some things because my sponge is coming out a little bit dry. But like I said, this still weighs more than when I rolled it in. So I still have product in there that I need to be using. But this was 33.8 for last month. It's 34.68. So it's like 0.8 something. 0.84 heavier right now. So almost a gram heavier. But the 18 times that I used this in March, I used up a total of 2.70 grams. So between the Say Super Glowy Gel that I put in there, between the BB cream that I put in there, and just the regular foundation that was in here, I used up 2.7 grams of it in 18 uses. So with that being said, this will not last past this month. This will end up getting used up just because there's so little of actual like product that is original to this, and I only have 0.8 of the product that I added to use up. So if I use up another 2.7 grams, 2.5 grams, this will be an empty by the end of next month, which is exciting because what side is it on? This side? Where is it? Right there. That's the Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation, and I'm really excited about busting into that one for the summertime. So we talked about my foundation, we talked about the Say Super Glowy Gel. Now we can go back to my powder, and this is the Kosas Cloud Set Powder. This is the pressed one, and this is in Candy. Yes, so this is the pink one. My lid continues to crack, or the hinge continues to crack, even though I do not close my lid. My lid always stays open, but just me opening and closing it for the purposes of using it, my hinge continues to crack on a 30, well, I got this on sale, so $30 powder, $30 plus powder. I don't know. But this is where we're at. My big old dents and divots, usually whenever I hold it to the side, you guys can see my big old divots in this product. So I am continuing to use this because this is a pink powder. I'm only using this on my under eyes, and then I set a little bit down the sides of my nose. Then I set the rest of my face with my regular finishing or setting powder, but this is just for my under eyes. This is a beautiful powder. It can get hard pan, and so if you just scrape that off, then it's beautiful underneath, and it's a beautiful, soft, silky powder. Like, that is just me dipping my finger in there, and you get that beautiful pigmented pink powder. So, still really enjoying this. I don't know if I would repurchase it, but I'm still enjoying it. But last month with the powder, we were at 76.23. I used it 19 times. We're at 75.66, so I used 0.57. So back down to about a little bit over a half a gram of usage, which is kind of consistent across the board. So about a half a gram per month is what we're going through with this powder. I'm curious when I will end up hitting pan on that. I guess probably down in this area right here, because that's like the biggest dent down there. So I'll probably end up hitting pan down here. But I don't think that this is something that I will necessarily have to repress, because I do apply that with a small like triangle puff, and so I have really good control over that. Then we have one more product to go through, and this product I rolled in last update, and that is one of my shadow sticks. So this is the ColourPop shadow stick in So Celestial. It is this beautiful like antique copper shade here. Now I did sharpen it because I do like using this. I have a dog hair. You guys will have to forgive me. It's just my life. My life with constant dog hairs in my nose. But I did sharpen this. All of these come with a little sharpener on the bottom. So I sharpened this because I like using this as like an outer corner, kind of like liner to darken up my lash line. I usually take it underneath my lash line on the bottom, and then I'll wing it out just a tiny bit. That's how I love using the shadow stick. I don't actually use it as a shadow stick. I use it as a liner. So I have enjoyed having this in my little cup for one of my focus items. But my goal is to use this up completely, and holy moly, there is so much product in here. I was able to make a new mark in my book, which you guys will see when my graphics pop up, but I was able to make a new mark, but we still have quite a bit to go. And if I don't finish this year, that's okay. I just want to get some really good use off of one of my liners. But I was at 11.63 last month. Now we're at 11.58, so I used 0.05 grams. And again, I'm going to end up losing product whenever I do sharpen this, just because that is the nature of how I will use this product. I don't want to use it with a blunt tip on it. So that is kind of how we're going to be doing with one of my shadow sticks. But that is my entire update. I feel I don't feel like it's lackluster because I'm getting good use out of this, but some of these things are just long haul products. And so it is what it is. For my other projects that are a little bit more fast paced, that are a little bit more usage oriented, I have my Project 10 uses and my No Pan Left Behind, and then I have my deck of panning. So definitely check those out if you are new or if you have not seen those from me before. Check those ones out as well. But at this point too, when stuff is rolled out, like let's say, because I feel like this is going to be a reality, but when the tier 2 rolls out, I'm going to roll in my Urban Decay foundation, and then it's going to be really interesting for me to see how many uses it takes me to use up the Face Bond foundation. Like, again, I just find it very fascinating to see how many uses it takes me to get these products done. So that is what I want to focus on, especially over the summer. I want to put the Face Bond to the test. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up because I need to take my pictures, do my graphics. I need to take B-roll of all of my 25 items for my 25 and 2025. Since a lot of them are also rolled into this project, I was like, while I have these out, while I have my equipment out, let me go ahead and I'll shoot my B-roll now. Maybe I'll do it in front of my tulips over there because they're so pretty. I love tulips. I love them to pieces. So I appreciate my husband when I casually put them on the conveyor belt at the grocery store. He did not complain. So I appreciate him. But I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to encourage you guys to do all the things. Hit a thumbs up on this video. Let me know that you guys are enjoying my content. Make sure that if you are new or lurking, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free for you. Helps me out a lot. And also, you can stick around for my Project Panning, Conscious Consumerism, Eyeshadow, Psychobabble, Puppy Dogs. This is who I am. So if this clicks with you, stick around. I would love to have you. Make sure to drop me a comment down below. Let me know how you guys are doing. I love our conversations. I am behind on my comments again, just because I am my brain is just not in a good place right now. I'm fine. It's just my brain is trying to do too many things at once. So I did want to maybe sit down this afternoon and just reply back to a lot of comments because I do appreciate you guys and I love hearing from you guys and hearing how you guys are doing. So drop me a line. But otherwise, I'm going to go. I'm sure everybody's taking a snoozle right now. So I'm going to try to get them to keep snoozing so I can get some stuff done. But so no puppy dogs today. I'm sorry for that. Maybe next time I'll wake them up and try to get Mr. W, because you know if I say his name, I'll get Mr. W to pop up here and say hello to you guys. But I'm done for the day. So I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my quarterly update for my 25 and 2025. So stick around for that one. So I'm going to tell you guys that I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you guys all have a beautiful day, and I'm going to catch you in my next one. Bye.